everyone, I'm Kathy Dawson. Welcome to Can You Relate, Cleveland's relationship show. You know, life is all about relationships, and this show is designed to help you because everywhere you turn, you're in one. Today we have something very special. We're going to talk about technology. This is with our Relationship Roundup segment, and what effect that has on relationships. Do you check your mate's password? Do you check his text? We're going to be talking about that later. But first we're going to talk about food and how food can enhance your relationship. We have someone who really believes that's a fact. So let's get started. You know, is the way to your mate's heart through food? Is that the way to really build a relationship? I want to introduce you to Jacob Medstrick, who is the owner of Chef 77 Personal Chef Service. Welcome to the show.
Kathy, how are you? Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to have you. Now, you're going to tell us all about food and relationships and how we gather around food. You have a theory about this, right?
Yes, I will. We talk about it at your romance workshop.
2 years ago. Can you believe it's been 2 years?
It's been a while, but people like the recipe, so that's why I'm back, and we're going to be doing this again. It's very simple. You know, every one of us is busy, including me. I could have a personal chef myself.
And isn't it true? Why is it people gather in the kitchen? I mean,
everybody wants to learn the recipe. Everybody wants to try a little bit here and over there.
So what do we have here? You're going to make something special.
Yes, I'm making Napa cabbage. I'm going to sear the Napa cabbage with carrots. I will show you in the meantime how to cut the carrots.
Okay.
You know, you buy a carrot, you want to peel it, obviously. I like to cut it lengthwise and then cut on a bias, which will make it look Asian.
Oh, I always cut them like straight.
It's
on the bias.
It's
this is like sewing.
Exactly. That's pretty close. It's pretty close. Maybe you can teach me that. Napa, it's pretty big. This is what does it look like. I like to cut the end of it, and then I already have some pre-cut. I just want to show people some of it.
And it's important to have your knife sharp, right?
Exactly. I like to use big knives. I'm comfortable with it. That was something I was going to mention in the beginning. You know, a lot of people doesn't like to cook in a kitchen because of the equipment they have. If you don't buy good stuff, you just don't like to go back to the kitchen and prepare your meals.
That's true.
So, if you start with exactly cut in half lengthwise, and as you can see, there is really no core, so you don't have to core the Napa, and you can just cut it like this, very thin stripes.
Okay, and I notice your hand is way back. It's not, because you watch these people that go.
I know.
I don't know how they do it.
It scares me. Every time you cut something, you want to imagine you're holding a golf ball, so you always have your fingers like this, not like this, like years ago when I keep cutting myself.
All right. So now, you did this for our romance workshop.
Yes, I did.
And I don't know if you know this. I'm not big into cooking. So, like, what happens, like, if I don't want to do this, but I want to have a nice meal for my mate?
Well, that's when I come in role, and that's when you hire me.
Yes. So tell us about this, because this is very cool.
I have a lot of fun stories. We don't have too much time for all the stories.
Yeah.
But 90% of my business is a surprise. It's usually a secret. So let's say you were there for your husband, and you're not going to tell Dick. Now he knows because we're on TV.
Right.
But you wouldn't tell him. I would come to your house, I would see the kitchen, I would talk to you about the menu, and I go back home, and then I will email you the menu. So he has no idea.
He has no idea.
And then at the day when we set up, you guys go somewhere for dinner or something, or not for dinner, you guys go somewhere for a couple of hours. In the meantime, I'm at your place setting everything up for 5 courses, and when you come home, all the candles, everything is ready to go, and I will be there to serve you. I will explain each course.
And you'll be just standing there, right, with the napkin over your arm?
Exactly. I'll be already ready to go. Never
late. Great. Now, are we going to get to taste this before we're done?
Exactly, yes, we will.
Okay, so we're going to...
Absolutely. I start with olive oil. There is... everybody has their own preference. I also like safflower. Safflower is actually even a little healthier than olive oil. So you want to heat up the pan all the way to the smoking point, not to have a smoking, and add your Napa cabbage.
That sounds good.
Napa takes literally a couple minutes. This is another time to think about this. This menu, this recipe is very simple. There's only few ingredients because a lot of people doesn't like to cook. They don't want to spend any time in the kitchen. So I made this very simple.
And these are you buy ahead of time, right?
Yes, I do.
I like
this
that.
was a part of the recipe.
Okay.
I love Trader Joe's pacikas, vegetarian, very good, and you can always impress your mate and make your own out of
Yeah, that's not happening.
Well, no, exactly.
Okay.
So next I will add the carrots.
Okay.
And I'm just making a little bit for us, so you don't have to.
Right, which we'll eat after.
Exactly. Yes. And I don't like to cook everything, all the vegetables, too much.
Okay, and then can we toss these in? Because we're
You know what
not
I'm going
yet.
to do?
Okay.
I'm going to put some on the plates already.
Okay.
I would cook these probably for a couple more minutes if we have more time, but this is okay.
But for visual.
And now, yes. Now the important thing, I cook the pacikas from frozen.
Uh-huh.
So you just pop them straight in a pan.
And then they'll go on top. It'll be beautiful, and you get the meal and you. What a package.
Exactly.
Okay. So if you would like to do this for your mate, you can give Jacob a call at 216-235-9237, or you can go to your website at chef77.com. I can't wait to eat this again. I know it's good because I've had it before. Stay tuned. We'll be back for the Relationship Roundup.
Later in the show, Finances by the Book. We'll reference the best money references. For those who struggle with drug and alcohol addiction, finding the courage to change is the first step to lasting recovery. Discover life in recovery. Discover Glen Bay.
Glen Bay, nationally recognized drug and alcohol treatment for adults. Discover more at glenbay.com.
So this is our Relationship Roundup segment. This is where I get to have my friends come in on the couch. I throw out a question and we all talk about it. So first I want to introduce you to my friends. We have Patrice Blakemore, who's a confidence coach, mother of 3.
Yes.
And we have Barbara Rose. You are mother of 2 adult, beautiful children, 2 daughters, and you've been married 39 years.
Would you stop with that already?
I know. And Rochelle, this is your first time. Welcome.
Thank you.
Rochelle Agbuji, you've been married 6 years. You have 3 children.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the question. Now, technology and relationships. Technology really affects relationships. We've got Facebook. We've got Twitter. We've got texting. We've got cell phone. Where is the privacy line? Do you check your partner's technology? Do you check Facebook? Do you look into the text? What do you think is appropriate?
My husband won't even accept me as his Facebook friend.
Really? I have to talk to this about
I mean, who has time to check their stuff? I mean, I think it's about trust. I got enough emails. I don't have time to check his as well.
Okay.
Okay, you know what? This is how I say it. And when you have nothing to hide, hide nothing. And so it's not that you're checking it, but if it's accessible, I don't think there's an issue.
Oh, so you really take a different point. What were you going to say?
You would check your husband's.
I wouldn't check it, but I would go see who he has as his friends.
Really? I wonder who that is.
I'm just going to say this. I think that it is about trust, but if you trust, then you have nothing to hide. So if you're on Facebook, and I used to leave funny messages on my husband's Facebook page, and then he defriended me. And then,
there you go. Okay.
You know, but at this point, I think it should be about trust, but there's nothing to hide. There's a difference between privacy and secrecy.
So what I think I hear you saying is that if you don't have anything to hide, what's the problem? Why not?
But I also think that people are entitled to their privacy. And just because you're married, you don't have to know everything about him. You don't follow him into the bathroom. I mean, you give him some...
I do. I'm not proud of it, but
I was thinking about this, you know, if something happened to Bruce, God forbid, and I didn't have access to his work email or his accounts or whatever to sort of take over the business, that would be a problem. So maybe those passwords should be somewhere safety deposit box, whatever, locked up.
Okay, okay. Without easy access, is I think what you're saying. Okay.
If you trust
It's
them.
the honor system.
Okay, what if you don't trust them?
That's you don't need to be with them.
Okay. Actually, that's a whole other show. Right.
That's when you become Inspector Gadget.
Right. All right. So do your husbands have all these things? They have the Facebook and the text and all that stuff?
My husband does not have Facebook. He says, I'm a real man. I pick up the phone.
All
My
right.
husband doesn't have Facebook anymore.
Okay. How about you?
He only has it for business, and he has no friends.
I get you. Well, on that note, okay. You guys, thank you so much for putting in your point of view. Now, we would like to hear from you. So you can Facebook us. Here we go. You can Facebook us. You can tweet us. And if you'd like to be on Coach Kathy's Couch with your friends, email us at info@canyourelatetv.com. Stay tuned. We've got Rate Your Relationship coming up.
You've just asked your mate to do one little thing, and it still isn't done. So then, what do you do to get that one to do to be done? Do you follow up by asking about it over and over and over within a short amount of time? Take on a critical parent tone when making your request. Circle around your partner periodically to remind him or her what to do. To get this to-do done right, do this. Listen to Coach Kathy's answer.
If you answered yes to A, B, or C, there's a high chance that you are using one of the 10 worst ways to communicate: condescension. Condescension is when you talk down to your partner, that you're sounding like a mother talking to a son or a father talking to a daughter. Another thing that happens with condescension is you sometimes become what's called a helicopter spouse, where you kind of hover over the person and remind them to do things. So you want to make sure you listen to your tone, because it's so important to your relationship. If you know someone who would like to take this survey, they can go to info@canyourelatetv.com. Stay tuned, because we have more of Can You Relate coming up.
Just ahead, our expert lists the best books on money that money can buy. And later, can dog breeding breed dog problems? We'll separate fact from fiction.
Join in as Al's Deli celebrates its 5th anniversary. Nestled in downtown Cleveland's 55 Erie View Plaza building, Al's Deli serves breakfast, lunches, delicious Middle Eastern dishes, and has catering too. Al's Deli, a hidden treasure for your tummy. Log on for money-saving coupons today.
Your relationship with money can be a tricky one. Sometimes it's just time to learn new information. Well, we've got Ken Buttsy from Integrity First Planners. Welcome, as always, to share us. Look at all these resources you have for us. So let's get started. What's the first one?
Well, you know, often people will say, what do I read? What can I refer people to read? They want to learn more about something.
Okay.
So I brought a couple of different areas that we talk about. One right now is a big topic is long-term care. You know, what happens if? And it's very confusing. You can read things in the paper and it confuses the heck out of people. So one of the things that I refer people to is the Long-Term Care Insurance Shopper's Guide. Okay, this is free. Okay. You can get it from people like me, or you can, it's put out by the National Association of Insurance Commissioners.
And this is not gobbledygook. We can actually understand it.
It gives you a lot of definitions. It gives you some explanations.
Okay,
I think it's great information that's free. And it gets people to understand some of the basics that they might look for if they were considering a policy.
And now's about the time. If you're in your 50s, we should be thinking about this, right?
Well, the idea for insurance, I always say, is buy it yesterday when you were healthy.
Well, there you go. Okay.
You know, it's just, yes, 50s would be great, 60s would be great. If you don't have it now, and if you're in a situation where it could, you know, not having it's going to hurt you, then you ought to explore it.
What's the next thing?
Well, this is also another long-term care insurance book, but this is actually written by an attorney that gets more details about what you might be looking for. It's more than a definitional book, so I love this book. It's called In Sickness and in Health, and it's written by Harley Gordon. And again, he's not selling a product. He's explaining to you in American words what this is, okay?
All right, so he's helping you. Okay.
Yes.
And the next one?
The next one, this is my favorite. This is the book that actually probably started me into financial planning over 12 years ago. It's written by Ed Slott. It's called The Retirement Savings Time Bomb. And it's all about retirement plans and things that can go wrong. It's written in American, very easy, very funny to read at times. I will caution you, a lot of the information is outdated because tax laws have changed, but I still recommend people read it because it makes your brain think about some of the things that can go wrong, because you're not aware of things that they can go wrong until it's too late.
Until it's too late,
so
exactly.
This gets you to thinking and gives you some explanations about how certain laws are put down.
Good.
Now, on the economic side, this is the one that people are always asking me, what do I read? There's a couple of books here. One is called The Death of Pensions. This is put out by H.S. Dent Foundation. And you can just go to www.hsdent.com. And Harry writes a bunch of these little pamphlets about various topics. For instance, this is The Death of Pensions, talking about how pensions are going away and why they're going away and so on and so forth.
I like this because it's digestible.
It's digestible. It's 10 pages. You know, it's not a big economics book. Here's another one that Harry puts out called The Long Winter Ahead, written in 2006, talking about the crisis that we've just gone through. He was forecasting it 5 years before this, okay?
Wow.
So again, it's very simple to read. You don't have to read a 400-page book, but it speaks to you in very simple language.
Okay.
And then here's my favorite book, and I read this every other year. You know, every 2 years I go back and read it. It's called How to Lose $100 Million. How to Lose $100 Million. It's written by a business.
About having it to
well,
lose? That was
what it is basically it's a biography of someone, a businessman back in the 20s who had a business career for 60 years, and he would try things, he would lose money, he would try other things, he'd make money, and I love the book. You can find it in libraries, but it just gives you kind of the guy struggles through and how taxes changed, and it gives you a good perspective when you're actually thinking about what investments may or may not make sense for you. I've always gone back to it.
We've got books, we've got pamphlets. You also have newsletters and websites that you
Newsletters. On my website, integrityfirstplanners.com, we actually have a list of recommended readings and recommended websites for basically used for educational purposes. Most of the stuff that I recommend is consumer-friendly reading. It's supposed to be relatively easy to read. It's not heavy technical stuff, although I do read that stuff, but quite frankly, things that people put in, and these are things that I'm putting out that you're probably not aware of. You know, you can always go to the store and read a Millionaire Next Door, but this is something
No, this is great. And for people who want to read this and learn more about it, they can go to your website, like you said, which is integrityfirstplanners.com, or they can call you, because you're a walking encyclopedia, at 216-751-4229. Thank you, as always, for coming on with all this great information.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, because we've got Romance Review coming up.
Next, does your pooch's pedigree predict how he performs? The answer from our expert. Then, a couple needs to cut corners on their costs. Coach Kathy adds up ways to save.
Everybody wins when you decide to donate your ride to Our Lady of the Wayside.
Our Lady of the Wayside is so much more than a car donation program. For over 40 years, we've helped thousands of physically and mentally challenged citizens live more comfortable lives within our network of homes. Our services range from assisting with personal care to developing productive personal growth. With your generous support and help, we can reach out to so many more. Y'all can help. Visit wayside.org or stop in to see us today. You can change lives.
We all know and love man's best friend, but is there a breed's best friend? Is there a certain kind of dog that's best just for your family? Well, we have Chuck Stella here from Elite K911 joining us again to tell us about certain breeds, and we have this wonderful dog, Butch, who is a pit bull, correct?
Yes, he is. Yes,
so
he's a pit bull.
What do you think about breeds?
I think breed's very important. It depends on people's lifestyles. I get too many calls where people that are very sedimentary, where they don't do a whole lot, and they have a young athletic dog, greyhounds, things that want to have exercise. I see a lot of that, and they wonder why their dog is so bad. Because their dog's not getting exercise.
Now, Butch is a rescue, right?
Yes,
Tell
he
us
is.
about Butch and what happened with him.
Butch was a rescue. I got him about 8 months old. He was entering into a fight ring. They were grooming him to be a fighter. We got him just in time. We got him pretty young. The scars that you see on him were from surgeries, not from fights.
Oh, okay.
There's a few on his face that were beginning of fights.
Oh.
But we got him at just the right time, and we trained him. We got him around a lot of dogs socially, and so he became a very, very good dog.
Now, if you get him early, great, but what if you don't get him early? I mean, is there a point where it's like, oh, past the point of no return?
It depends on the person. It depends on what they're willing to do. I mean, we get a lot of these guys that are a year, 2 years old that have been in situations that weren't too positive, and we do turn them around, but it does take time. I always recommend, of course, going to the pound and rescuing a dog because there's 8 million destroyed in this country every year. I suggest going to the pound and bringing a personal trainer with you. You know, I mean, this is an important decision. This is a lifelong 14-year, you know, you're going to have the dog 14, 15 years. So you should have somebody come with you to evaluate a dog.
So really, like taking a family by themselves and saying, oh, look at how cute, and buying the dog based on that is not a good idea.
No, and that happens a lot. People say, oh, look how cute that puppy is. These guys are beautiful puppies. I mean, they're just so cute, and they're wrinkly and the whole bit. But, you know, if you're not prepared to run with him and exercise them and socialize them properly, you know, you have to be willing to do all that.
So when we go to the pound and we see a cute little puppy, what do you recommend we actually do with the puppy to kind of test it out?
I would certainly talk to the people that work there because they interact with those dogs every day, 3-4 times a day. So I would pick their brains. I would talk to anybody in the staff that has anything to do with that dog. I would also suggest bringing a trainer with you and having a trainer do an evaluation there. It'll cost you a little bit, but it's so
I was going to ask you that. I mean, do most trainers, are they willing to do that?
I do that. All the trainers I know are willing to do that. We're all about pro rescue, you know, so most of the trainers will do it. They're happy to do it.
Oh, that's great. See, I would never have thought to do that.
Yeah.
It's almost like going to buy a used car and then getting your mechanic to go with you to look at the car.
Absolutely. It's a good investment. It's a big investment. It's something you should go in with your eyes wide open.
Now, once you get the dog, you've kind of walked it through its paces at the pound and stuff, and you bring the dog home, do you right away get the training? You have this thing where dogs can be dropped off at your place, right?
Yeah, we have a 9-to-5 program or a boot camp where the dog comes and either lives with us 24 hours for a week straight, or comes for a couple days, or comes in the morning and is picked up at the end of the day, and we train the dog. We do a lot of the work for the owner.
Okay. If they can't do that, you'll come to the house, I'm guessing.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And how many weeks do you recommend working with a trainer when you bring the dog home?
It depends on the dog, depends on the trainer, depends on the client, the person that, you know, some people give me their dog and they don't really want to do a lot. They want the dog ready-made. There's other people that are very active and they want to be a big part of the training. So training is always based on how the owner, the dog handler, works with the dog. So if the owner is going to work with the dog a lot and reinforce it, they may only be doing it for a few weeks to a month.
Okay. I cannot believe, because Butch was to the point where he was jumping up on the fence and he was growling at people.
Yeah, he was a puppy, and he was, you know, everybody was afraid of him because he was a pit bull, but it has nothing to do with the breed.
Perception.
These guys are very, very social. They're very social to people. They get the wrong impression. People get the wrong impression, but they are very social.
I'm glad you came in to break that perception of the pit bull. He's adorable. Thank you for being on the show. And thank you, Chuck, for coming on. If you'd like to get a hold of Chuck because you have a dog or you want to get a dog and you want to make sure the dog gets brought into your family in the best way possible, give Chuck a call at 440-666-0749 or go onto your website at EliteK911.com. Stay tuned because we've got Ask Coach Kathy coming up.
Coming up, they're watching their pennies, but can they do more? Kathy offers some sensible solutions. And next week, did you know that this year your taxes are not due on April 15th? The real deadline and other important tax info next week on Can You Relate with Kathy Dawson.
Craig and Mark Lindahl and Grange Insurance understand that 1 minute you're out there living life to the fullest. The next thing you know, you've got sweeping changes to make and your family's future to think about. Talk to Lindahl Insurance about how to save by putting all of your insurance with Grange, protecting your possessions and the ones you love. When things zig instead of zag, contact Lindahl Insurance or visit their website.
This is the Ask Coach Kathy segment. This is where you get the chance to write a question in and I answer it anonymously on the air. So here is this week's question. Kathy, my husband and I are lucky enough to both be working in this tough economy. Even though we have two incomes, we are very cost conscious. I've never really used coupons much and would like to start, but it feels overwhelming. Any ideas on how to do this? Actually, I'm not the one to ask about this because I'm not the one that organizes coupons. But we have someone here, Mary Hitch, who is the queen of coupons. You and I have talked at length. Tell me about how many years have you been doing this?
I started when I got married, and that was 28 years ago.
Wow. And so you have a philosophy and you have certain coupons that you like to use, programs. Would you share for this viewer your most favorite?
Well, I have a couple different things. One of them is you can stack coupons, where at BJ's and Target they have their own coupons.
What does that mean, stack?
And then you can pile on a manufacturer's coupon on top of that from the Sunday paper.
Okay, did everybody know this? I didn't know this. You can have a coupon that you get from a particular store, but then if it shows up in the paper, you can add to it, and then you get more off.
Right, so if BJ's has a $2 coupon and you find a 50-cent one, you can take it to BJ's and get $2.50 off that product.
That's terrific. What's another program?
Another one that I like, and it's just something in the last year, is in Groupon.com. And all you have to do is go to their website, and you then sign up, and basically you don't have to do much because they send you an email each day. And the product is only, you can buy a gift certificate at a discounted price for that product.
Okay.
And it's good, you have to buy it within that 24 hours.
Okay, is it always the 24-hour window?
Pretty much.
Okay. Was there one more that you liked?
And one of the things I also like...
Was it Living Social?
There's LivingSocial.com is also similar to Groupon.
Okay.
That they'll send you an email.
That's great.
And
I mean, and sometimes you'll delete it because it's not appropriate for what you want or whatever, but still that's nice.
But they have a big range of products that they offer.
That's wonderful. And you have an organizational system. You brought this. So tell us what this is about.
This is just my coupons. They're organized by what they are, like pet products and baking and cereal and candy goods.
See, that's what would be overwhelming to me is all the coupons. It's like, how do you organize them? But you're saying get one of those file folders. It's like an accordion thing.
Right.
And it works.
And that works good.
Your husband must love you. Thank you so much for coming on and answering this viewer's question.
Thank you.
And stay tuned because we'll be right back and I'm going to tell you what's coming up next. And if you would like your question answered, you can email it at info@canyourelatetv.com. We'll be right back.
Would you like Coach Kathy's help in making your relationship the best it can be? You can get in touch with Kathy by calling 216-932-5016 or visit Kathy at kathythecoach.com.
Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for next week because we've got another relationship roundup. Here's the question. If your best friend's husband was having an affair, would you tell her about it? So I'll see you next Monday on Can You Relate? Have a great week.